Morning, everybody. It's day 15 of 30, building in public. I'm building and launching an AI application within 30 days, 1 hour per day. That is the plan so far. Before we hop into it today, this is not sponsored or anything. It's just a cool thing that I've just heard about, and I think I'm going to be participating in as well. So Nuite, I'm going to have to ask their team how to pronounce it. Nuiti are doing a hackathon with Google here in London, and it's going to be in 11 days. The deadline for applications is, I think, let me find the dates. It's coming up. I think it's in a few days, so make sure you get it in. What this is a hackathon for the travel industry. So calling all tech enthusiasts, entrepreneurs and creative thinkers, we are excited to announce our co-hosted hackathon open to participants from any industry. Okay, so it's not just travel. Whether you're a seasoned coder or just starting out, this is your chance to showcase your skills, push the boundaries of innovation and collaborate with like-minded individuals. For your hackathon, you will be using the Nuiti Lite API. So they've provided a fast way to build travel apps, launch your hospitality product in minutes, effortlessly monetize, selling accommodation over 2 million properties worldwide, etc. So it's going to be using that. It's going to be hosted by Google, and it is going to have a pitch day on the 1st of October. I will be there on the 1st of October. I'm also thinking about entering the competition myself with a little team. I don't have the time. I shouldn't be doing it, but I kind of want to. So I might be putting together a team for that as well. Even if I don't do that, I will be there on the 1st. So the prizes are 10k and a weekend getaway for the first place, 5k and 3k euros for the other places. And you can enter as an individual or in a group, up to 4 per group. It starts on Friday the 26th, and then you have 5 days to create. And then the in-person feedback is at Google. I think it's the St. Giles. Yep, St. Giles, Google. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to come along to that one because my friend Martin is going to be there. He's in London for this, and he's one of the judges. And it should be a pretty cool day. Just seeing where Martin is. I don't see him on here. I think he's a judge. Well, he's certainly coming over for it because we're meeting up. So I'm going to be attending on the 1st. I'll be there at Google, but I'm also might be doing the hackathon. It's a stupid idea. It could be fun. But I wanted to flag it up in case any of you wanted to build and you wanted to join. If you search Nuiti Hackathon, it will probably come up on Google. If not, what I'm going to do is add this into the newsletter. So you'll be able to find it and get in as well. Let me see. I don't know when you need to register by, but I'll do it ASAP if I were you. Cool. I just wanted to flag that up, and I've wasted 3 minutes talking about something else that is not my application. That was a mistake because I only have 1 hour per day. Right, what we're doing. Why is that looking like that? Okay, immediately came across something that doesn't look right. So where are we? We are building an application. We've gone from idea to a minimum viability product in about 15 days, so 15 hours. I could have done it a lot faster if I wasn't live streaming it, but the reason I'm doing this is to show you the process, to walk through, also increasingly to get advice from you guys. Someone called Ed gave me a suggestion, which I'm actually going to carry out today, to make this a lot more accessible for the beta launch. Because right now, what the application does, it takes your YouTube videos, so you have to have a YouTube channel, and it turns them into lead magnets, and you can put those lead magnets below your video in order to generate leads for your business. That's the idea. So I've built in the ability to now create your own landing pages. So it doesn't just create the lead magnets, it creates a landing page in the background as well, and to collect emails off the back of those. So a landing page will look like this. Is not looking right yet, but the landing page will look like this, for example. So sorry, that's looking squeezed up. The reason it looks squeezed up is because I haven't done the mid-size screen yet, so it will look more like this, and it will look better on mobile. But when I have it between mobile and desktop, it looks a mess. But function is what I'm focusing on. So the suggestion that Ed gave me, because out loud I was like, oh, this is going to be tricky to beta test because it requires you to have a YouTube channel. Now, obviously, they're going to be my customers, although I do later want to open it out so that it can be it can create lead magnets for TikTok videos, Instagram videos, potentially blog articles, blog posts, etc. Like, I think there's a lot we can do, but I don't want to start adding all of those additional inputs until we know that the basic idea is good. So what Ed said, which was a really good idea, is, hey, why don't you just allow people to copy paste in a transcript and generate a lead magnet off that? So that reduces the need for them to have a YouTube account. It's like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Really, really simple, something I did not think of. So I found other places like this, tactique.io, which can generate transcripts. So I'll probably just use this for now. I've also tried to work out how they've done this. So in the background, I'm trying to work out how they are allowing you to grab transcripts from any YouTube video, because ultimately that's what I need. So I need to work out this, and I've been working with Claude yesterday to try and work out how the hell Tactique are doing this. I think I know the method, I just haven't been able to implement it yet, but that's something I'll add later. For now, I want to add the ability to add a transcript. What I'll do is I'll do it as you can add a transcript or a blog article. So basically text, it's a text parser, and that will allow you to create lead magnets off the back of it. So one question though is, at the moment, the front page of the site, I need to stop moving that, the front page of the site is very much YouTube focused, because it kind of says you need to sign up with your Google account so that we can get to your YouTube videos, etc., etc. So if I'm changing it so we're widening it out, we want to allow people to copy in text or a YouTube link, I mean ultimately, or an Instagram link or a TikTok link. So it gets complicated. We need to make sure that first impression is not overwhelming. So I think what we'll do is we'll build the functionality first. So I'll just make the tool for passing the text in the background, and then we'll work out what that looks like in terms of the display. So we'll go ahead and do that. Hey, Lovable. In preparation for the beta test, what I would like to do is have a way for my users, my testers in particular, to copy and paste in a transcript. The reason for this is forcing them to have, one, a Google account, and two, a YouTube channel, and therefore YouTube videos is a bit of a barrier at this moment. Yes, obviously they'll have YouTube, the customers will have YouTube channels because that's the focus, but I would like to open this up a bit for the testing in particular. So I'd like to make a test page and build out the functionality which allows my users to copy in a transcript and for us to generate lead magnets off the back of that transcript. No, it's not right. Let's have a think about this, because we can make this actually useful and not just for demos, not just for the beta test, if it is allowing you to copy in a blog article or a transcript. So basically it's a text parser. What's the best way to do this? Yeah, Tony, this is 100% it. It will allow people to create lead gen for other people this way as well. So at the moment, the Google API only allows you to get the transcripts from your own videos, which is fine. If you are a YouTube creator, great, but that really narrows the market down. Instead, if I can get this to be able to create lead magnets from any YouTube video, any TikTok video, any Instagram video, any blog article, suddenly, well, a couple of things happen. One, if you are a creator, you can suddenly make lead magnets. You can kind of borrow from other people's content. It's a bit cheeky, but it allows you to create pieces of value based off other people's content. That's one cheeky usage. It also allows you to make lead magnets and then go to those people and say, hey, would you be interested in me creating custom lead magnets for every single one of your videos. And then you can build a business off the back of that, which, yes, Tony, you're 100% on the money. That's where I want to go. The question is the complexity of adding in all of those inputs, and we kind of need to prove that the idea itself is valuable before I make it like a universal translator, although that's kind of what I want to do. So if we start with the text parser, or the ability to process text, that will open up a lot of channels. Ollie's saying Lovable is disappointing as a dev. So the reason we're using this, I have to explain this on 2 or 3 times per live. The reason we're using Lovable is that it's very accessible for everybody. Cursor, yes, is a more powerful tool. Claude Code, yes, is a more powerful tool. Codex, really, really good. However, for people who are entrepreneurs, people who want to turn an idea into some kind of reality, those tools are intimidating. They're overwhelming. When you first open up Cursor, the natural reaction, if you've never coded, if you've never touched an IDE, is like, oop, nope, and to close it again. And hell, they can't even get into Claude Code. So we're using Lovable for that reason, to help people to start on their journey. Yes, absolutely, they can use other tools later, absolutely, but we need a way to get people into it. I'm trying to reduce the gatekeeping, if that makes sense. So it's not just, this is the best tool, this is the one you should use. Instead it's, hey, start with this, play around, see how magical it is, and as you feel more confident, there are some other tools that you might want to check out. So that's kind of the purpose. I need to get a sticky that does that. Right, what I'm going to do is, I don't want to change the whole authorization flow. Right, I'm going to talk to it. I'm going to put it in chat mode. Okay, Lovable. So I actually want to widen out the number of inputs we can take. Right now, the YouTube input is restrictive because we need to use the OAuth, and the user needs to have their own channel. So right now, our main front page is very much focused on that. That is fine for the YouTube. For YouTube creators, but I do want to widen out. The final version, as we start to add to this, will have modules to allow us to import from TikTok, Instagram, blog articles, LinkedIn posts, etc., and to be able to generate lead magnets off all of those and make landing pages based on them. So that's what the final form is going to look like. What I'd like to do is build out a text version, so one that allows you to either enter a URL and it pulls the text from a blog article, for example, or maybe a simpler version which is just a text field, a text box, where someone can copy and paste in their blog article, their LinkedIn post, or a transcript from a video. I would like to kind of build this functionality, test it out without having to change our whole kind of login and authorization. Right now they have to log in with Google. Later, ideally they won't need a Google account because we won't be using OAuth, but for now that's the only way we can do Google. So I kind of wanted to discuss how we can implement adding in the ability to input from text with a text box without wrecking the current setup, but then bring that to the forefront if and when we get it up and running, if that makes sense. Sorry, I don't have much clarity on this, so let's discuss it. This is something I should have thought through before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give all of that to Lovable. I'm doing it in Lovable. You could do this in Claude. The reason I'm doing it in Lovable is for speed right now, because it knows my project better. But I could also go over to Claude and ask these kind of questions and have this discussion. So, but what Lovable is able to do is to kind of look through the page. That said, you can do that on Claude. So you can actually give Claude, where is it? You can add from GitHub. So you can give it access to your GitHub repository. For those of you who have no idea what that is, that's fine. GitHub is basically it's like cloud storage, kind of, but it also gives you version control, so you can roll back to previous versions of your code, and you can also pull your code into other pieces of software. So I could pull it into Claude, for example. I could pull it into Cursor, which is a more advanced coding tool, but GitHub remains the place where all of those changes are tracked, and I can kind of move back, I can branch, I can do lots of cool things there. It's also, if you are vibe coding, it's a really useful thing to set up. Generally, most people's first mistake with vibe coding comes from not setting up GitHub, and you see so many people on on Reddit saying, it's destroyed my, everything's gone wrong and it doesn't work and it's broken, what do I do? And the first question, everyone's like, well, did you save it in GitHub? And they're like, wait, what's GitHub? So if you are starting on this journey, learn that ASAP. And it's not technical. You literally create an account on GitHub and then you click this button up here and then you connect them. That's it. You don't really know how, you don't need to know how it works. Again, knowing how this stuff works, really useful, not necessary when you're getting started. So your current system works like YouTube only input via the hero section. Yes. OAuth requirement because we need the Google token. Yes. Edge function. Yes. Credit system already supports different inputs and length. Oh, I forgot about the credit system. Yep. Database already stores transcripts to support the full workflow. The perfect solution. Well, that's good. The good news is that your current architecture is already well designed for multiple input types. Here's how we can add text input without breaking anything. Phase 1, add text input option. Modify the hero section to support both YouTube URLs and text input. Okay, it's a bit ugly. Oh, with tabs and toggles. Okay, that's fine for now. Create a new edge function. Yes, that bypasses transcript extraction and directly processes text input. So right now we grab the transcript from YouTube using the API, basically a connector. It grabs that and then dumps the text in my application, and then that text is processed by ChatGPT. We can actually avoid the YouTube because we already have the text, and so we can just send that to ChatGPT. So add routing logic to call the appropriate edge function, reuse existing components, unified input component, create input selector. Okay. Yep. No changes to authentication. Text users can still log in with Google, but don't need YouTube access. So what I'll probably do, so there's a complication here where it'd be nice if anyone can log in using any email address, which I can add. But right now you need a Google account for the YouTube tool to work. So it gets to this weird thing where somebody might sign up with a non-email, a Gmail account, and then I have to say, oh, you need to give me your Gmail now so we can use the YouTube functionality. So maybe I'll just leave it as Gmail only, so that everybody by default has access to the YouTube tool until I can replace that YouTube tool with the other version. There's a lot going on. Okay, this looks sound. Let's carry out with this. For the dashboard, I still want them to appear in the same list. So currently that list is called, I believe, videos. So we're going to need to change that to input sources or source material. We need to work out what that name is, and then have the ability to have both the videos which have that thumbnail and non-videos which will not have a thumbnail, so we'll need to give them a different icon. So for text, I guess just a kind of an icon representation of text will be fine for now, and then we can work out the design, but I want them to be in that same drop down, and then they still need to have the same ability to generate landing pages, to access the dashboard, etc, etc, etc. So they need to be treated the same as the video, but with without the thumbnail. Okay, let's give it a go. Have you used other tools, Base44, Replete? Yes, I've used pretty much all of them, because it's kind of my job, I suppose. I'm going to go ahead with this. So I've used, I like Replete. I've used V0. I quite like Bolt. Bolt's really good at very, very basic applications. One of the problems with keeping up with all of these is that they change all the time, and so the last time I used Bolt was probably 2 or 3 months ago, so it might have got a lot better in that time. But I have tried most of them. Base44 is fine. Lovable has just become my go-to. I did go and visit them a few weeks ago, so I'm a little bit biased. I've met the CEO, etc. But it's always been, from the very beginning, it was the one that was giving me the best results, so I kind of just stuck to it. But I try to try out all the other ones on a regular basis. But there are so many of them now, and they do change so often that that's basically a full-time job. Okay, we're going to go ahead with that. I have no coding experience successfully using Base44. Awesome. Not sure how Lovable compares. Honestly, they all have decent free trials, so I would say give them a shot. And everybody settles on their favorite. I mean, my favorite is Cursor, which is a bit different. It's a bit more technical. It gives you more power, more advanced, and you can hook it up to whatever model you want. Whereas Lovable is using Anthropic. It's using Claude in the background. But you use different tools for different jobs, basically. My general workflow is I will start in something like Lovable, get the basics in play, kind of mess around with it, and then take it to GitHub and then down into Cursor in order to go from there. Claude Code is also fantastic. If you need funding for Series B, I can help. Who can you help with? Hey Kyle, can you code? I know some Python. I would say I know the basics of how code fits together, but no, I'm not a software developer at all. What I would say is you can use vibe coding tools to be incredibly lazy and not learn anything, and that's going to be a risk moving forward, especially as the tools get better and better. So it's kind of on you to learn at the same time. So what you can do is you can give custom instructions, or you can put Claude Code into learning mode so that it tells you what it's doing. And Claude Code can even do things like leave things for you to finish up. So it's like, okay, I've done most of the work, but you now need to work out the rest of it, which is a really cool way to learn. I would say that vibe coding is a good way to, well, one, if you're an entrepreneur who doesn't want to become a coder, it allows you to prototype, it allows you to build an MVP and then go and get a technical co-founder, or go and get money so you can go and hire. Or two, if you are interested in coding, vibe coding lets you get started and build something very quickly and kind of get that dopamine rush of like, oh my God, look what I can do. But then you're going to hit walls and you're going to hit difficulties, as we all do. And at that point, that's when the learning comes in, but the learning will be specific to the problems that you need to solve, which is a really good way to learn, is project based. So the previous ways of learning coding were, well, courses and basically textbooks, like learning what variables are, what functions are, etc., etc. Absolutely fine, but very dry compared to project-based learning. So I like to think of vibe coding as kind of like a gateway drug that gets you started, and then you realize that, oh, I'm actually going to have to learn how to code, aren't I? Which is not a bad thing. It allows you to communicate more effectively with these tools as well, and when they do go wrong, which they do, to get in and see what's going on. Proof of concepts, yeah. I mean, I know people who have deployed and are making money from their applications. It depends what you want to do. Not every single piece of software needs to be enterprise grade and fully scalable. Like I would say, it entirely depends what's going on here. It depends if you're building internal tools for yourself to help run your own business. Great, like you can probably put them together with vibe coding. If you are scaling up and you're going to have hundreds or thousands of customers, then you're going to need to go to the next level, especially for security. But at least you can get to that proof of concept. You can prove there is demand, and then you can go from there. That said, these tools are getting better. So what was impossible a few months ago is now getting easier and easier to do. So I think betting against vibe coding is probably not the way. I know people like to laugh at Dario, the head of Anthropic. A year ago, he was like, 90% of code is going to be written by AI. And a year passed, and people are like, haha, what an idiot. It's not 90%. People have actually looked into it. It's 30%. 30% of code is written by AI. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, none of it was. So betting against it, yes, Dario got it wrong in terms of the scale, but the trajectory is right. 30% is a huge amount. Ollie, people overlook AI for MVP. Have few projects at the moment turning AI MVPs into actual products. Yeah, you get it started. I think the really cool thing is for all those entrepreneurs who for years and years and years have been going to events and talking to people and saying, I've got this great idea, I've got a pitch deck, I've got this great idea, and it's like, well, build it. Build it. Now they actually can, and a lot of them realize like, oh, it's a crap idea, because they can put together the MVP now. So MVP is minimum viability product. It's like a base version, a proof of concept that demonstrates the value without you having to build and build and build and build, because that's the other problem. A lot of people who get into building, they will never take anything to market because they spend all their time refining and adding and perfecting, but they haven't actually asked anybody, they haven't taken it to market, they haven't put it in front of customers. So what they build is generally not very valuable. Oh, who says they worked at booking.com? I just saw it. Passenger 57 used to work at booking.com. I just talked about I've lost it now. Might be of interest to you. There's a hackathon in the travel industry which starts in 11 days here in London, and I'll be there on October the 1st. A friend of mine's coming from America to help judge it, but it is travel related using Nelios. I think it's called Nelios. Whoops, got that. I've read the name so many times and I keep forgetting it. I'll put the that's not good. I'll put the URL in the newsletter. But let me see if I can find it. Is it Nelios? It's not Nelios. Nelios. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to find that. Ah, you saw it. Looks good. Cool. Yeah, if you're in the travel industry, maybe that's up your street, but it's also open to people from outside of the industry and for builders and non-builders as well. Although they say it's for non-builders, but it's just going to be a lot harder to win a hackathon, but that's fine. Sure. Anyone can enter. Let's see, the issue is a TypeScript compilation problem. Okay, that is fine. That is a UI. Do I know what the issue is? Yes! The video is when I renamed the file from video transcript accordion TSX to content source accordion. Okay, this is the additional note that I gave it. Exactly what the problem is. It contains the old component code. Okay, we'll change it. Go ahead. Just need to change 2 words there. So this is kind of my fault. Well, not really. The inside of my dashboard, there is an element which looks like this. The dashboard where it has videos and lead magnets, but I don't want it to just be videos. I want it to be content. But I could have left that. I could have changed that later. But this has caused a problem because it's changed the name of the TypeScript file in the background. And then they're not matching up, so it's causing a build problem. I've just used Lovable for 1 week and built a new website for my business. So good. Very cool. Ollie says, went to a hackathon recently. It was also mixed. Weird we got placed into mixed groups, i.e. devs and non-devs. Yeah, I do kind of wonder what the non-devs add in that case. Because, I mean, I guess if they're like from a marketing background or a design background, then they can add something. But if it is primarily a building hackathon, and you're not worrying too much about like market research or I don't know, it's great that they're accepting, but I imagine if you are a dev, that is a little frustrating. Perfect. Again, we don't trust it just because it says perfect, I've done it, I'm the best. We don't necessarily we don't listen to it. Whenever a message comes back with that kind of perfect or I've done it, that's Claude. You can tell it's always got that exclamation mark. Okay, so I now have a text content box, and this has been turned to content sources. Let's kept these in here. Cool. So no idea if this is going to work, but let's give it a go. So text content. So I'm going to actually grab. So this is Sam Altman talking about taking notes in a notebook. Fascinating, but we're going to plug that in and see what happens. There we go. So this is a transcript. It's 1,000 words. Minimum 100 words, maximum 20,000 words. 3 to try. Okay. Source URL optional. We don't need that. Content title. Sam Altman has a notebook. Generate ideas. Let's see if that can work. I'll be surprised if it does. I'm pleasantly surprised. The fact it hasn't immediately crashed out is good. Oh, okay. Your lead magnet ideas are ready. Sam Altman has a notebook. So it's 1,211 words. So practical checklist to help you choose the perfect notebook and pen for your note-taking need, inspired by Sam Altman's preferences. Let's see if this is actually, does he actually mention the Uniball micropoint 0.5? Uniball. I think the Uniball micropoint 5 pen is the best pen overall, but the Muji 36 or 7 in dark. Okay, so he does mention that, which means this has successfully pulled the transcript in and it's used that to create the lead magnet ideas. So let's see if that works. We're going to have a fascinating checklist about Sam Altman's pen preferences. To be fair, I think this video has let's have a look at it. Where did I find this? Let's see. Oops. This video has 800,000 views. So people are really interested in Sam Altman's pen. Select your ideal notebook. Choose a spiral notebook. Ensure easy page removal. Check for hardcover. Prioritize pocket-sized portability. So, okay, it has made a checklist, probably the world's most boring checklist. But it has successfully done it. Rip out and organize notes. Okay, that's a bit more cool. Leverage digital news. Okay, so that has worked. Jolly good. So let's make sure that has also saved into the dashboard. No, so it has not. So that is the next part. So it has generated the ideas. It has not added it as a content source, which is going to be the next step. Cool. Hi, Lovable. That is good. The text to lead magnet generator worked. However, it did not save it into the dashboard. So we need to save it, as we do with all of the other lead magnets, with the transcript, so that we can regenerate new lead magnets, and then a specific card with the lead magnet that we just generated and the ability to create landing pages. So exactly the same as the videos, we just need to make sure that these also show up in the content sources. Thank you. Ollie says, oh, we had a designer, which is super valuable. Okay. It wasn't just people who were like, I want to make an app. Yeah, designers are really useful. And 2 consultants, which were useless. They didn't make you a good PowerPoint presentation. Is there a way to download off Lovable and host on a different platform? Do you mean your product, your project? Yes. So you can push it to GitHub. So the whole thing goes to GitHub. I think you can also package it up and download it as a zip. I think. Project visibility, rename, remix, transfer. Move this project. No, that's a different web space. Unpublish, disable. Maybe not. So the way I do it is I push it to GitHub. So if you are in Lovable, you'll see a little dude with little bunny ears. Bunny? I don't really know what it's meant to be, but in the top right hand side, use that to connect it to a GitHub account. If you don't have one yet, go ahead and create one, and then you can push all of your files. So all your files are actually here in the back end. Sorry, not the back end. You in the code mode here. You can push them all to GitHub. What you will need to do if you are moving it to Vercel or Netlify or your own host, for example, is you will need to then reconnect it back to your Supabase. I would say talk to Claude or talk to ChatGPT about how you do that. But yes, 100% you can do that. Thanks. I knew nothing about Lovable and just went for it. Yeah, I mean, great. They have a free trial. You can mess around with it, and it's pretty cool. Okay, you're right. The text content has been processed, which has been plunged into darkness. There we go. But not showing up in the dashboard. Let me fix this by ensuring the text content gets saved properly. Yes, and the dashboard refreshes to show it. I can see the issue. The text content is being saved, but the dashboard isn't being refreshed after text submission. Okay, that's nice and easy. So let's see if we can just do it. There we go. We can just do it over refresh. So it's got a little icon. So it looks a bit ugly compared to the other ones, but we should be able to view the content. So that is the initial transcript we gave it. Cool. And the reason we keep hold of this is so we can generate more lead magnets from it. So there's a generate more. That doesn't actually work at the moment, but that's why we're holding that information. And then we can, it says view lead view lead magnet. Okay. That's annoying. Why has it got a view 2 month? That's a smaller issue. We'll deal with that later. And we should be able to then generate a landing page based on this fascinating checklist. So it has automatically filled it in. Get your free essential notebook features for effective note taking. So you can change that because that's not very good. I'm going to click generate with AI and generate some more potentials. But then master note taking with our central checklist, that's a bit better. Unlock the secrets of effective note taking with expert insights from Sam Altman. Fine. Choose the right notebook, enhance creativity, boost your productivity, etc, etc, etc. And then it will be master note taking with our central checklist. I'll create that landing page and then preview that landing page. Boom. That works now, and then we'll put in Kyle test1 at gmail.com. Whoop. Okay, and then that means my user has successfully entered their email address, and they get sent to this thank you page. They can save it as a PDF. They get this fascinating lead magnet. This isn't my fault for putting in a very boring source, but I mean, heck, who am I to tell people what's interesting? And then just pull that out. There we go. So the recent leads shows up here, leads is here. So that is functioning. We can now, thank you to Ed who gave me that idea, we can now generate lead magnets directly from text. So even if you don't have a YouTube channel, you could either go to something like this and you can generate a transcript and put it in, or you could just throw in a blog article or a LinkedIn article, etc, etc. The main thing is we can do it with text. Very cool. Brock says, best of luck in the project, inspiring me to work on mine as well. Good, that's what I want. I want people starting to use these tools because this is a big change. To be able to create software in natural language instead of using computer language is a big shift. And yes, there are going to be problems. It's not going to necessarily be something that you can scale up to thousands of users, but you can build something basic, get that proof of concept, get a team on board, because you can actually show them something, and it's not just you being like, I've got a great idea, but you can show them something, and you can raise money as well. So it is, in my opinion, it's one of the most exciting unlocks that AI has given us right now. Okay, that has done all of that, and that is working. So what happens now when you submit text content? Saves to the database. Yes, that's working. Dashboard automatically refreshes. Awesome. Text appears as content sources with a text icon. Looks a bit ugly, but that's fine. You can regenerate lead magnets, create landing pages. Yes, 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 that all worked. Both content types are unified in the same dashboard section. Yes, they are, because I can see it there. Sam Altman has a notebook. I can see a few little errors. So it's saying 4 lead magnets. Nope, there's only 1. It hasn't got a credit total, so that's another problem we need to deal with. The generate more, as I said, doesn't work. So there are problems, but we are not going to hyperfixate on little things. We're going to get the basic building blocks in shape, and then we'll come back and deal with all of these things. Because otherwise I could spend the next 20 minutes trying to get that credit token counter to count up properly, and that's not even that important, because that is just telling you how much you used on that previous generation. So it's like, it doesn't add that much. So we will fix it all, we just don't need to right now. Okay, so what are we doing? So I've got landing pages, got content sources. So we need to have, ideally we need a unified input selector. Because I'm going to add the other inputs as well. And do I just want one form or one input where they put any URL and it can generate? Or do we want kind of a selector where they have to select, this is YouTube, this is TikTok, this is Instagram? That's probably going to be safer, because otherwise I need to add in the ability for it to detect what the source is, which is doable because I have the URL. It will be youtube.com/blah blah 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 blah. But in a cool way, in a way, having kind of big icons up here for the different generators, it kind of makes the tool, I think it might make the tool look more valuable, because you can see all the different channels. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, how much time have I got? Yeah, I've got 20 minutes. Oh, got a security error. What security error do we have? Customer email addresses could be stolen. Yeah, that's a big one. I'm going to deal with that afterwards. We don't have any customer email addresses yet, so I'm going to do that offline because it's very boring. I don't know why that's popped up all of a sudden, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Oh, I know why, because we don't need an authorization to get to generate using. Oh no, we do. We do still need an authorization to get in. I'll deal with that later. Okay, Lovable. Cool, that is working. Now, I'd actually like to get the framework in place for taking multiple inputs. So in the dashboard page, currently we have a generate lead magnets idea section. I'd like to have kind of a selector, probably selector buttons, which act as tabs for all of the different, well, there could be buttons, and then the input is generated below. Okay, basically I want the ability for them to select the input type. So it would be selecting a YouTube video, a TikTok video, an Instagram video. Both of those, Instagram and TikTok, need to be grayed out and says coming soon. Text input, LinkedIn article, which I'd like to do with a URL if that's possible, because that makes it seem more valuable. But basically I need a selector which allows them to select the input source, and then for the input text box, or sorry, the input field to appear that is relevant to that particular that particular content source type. So for the YouTube one, it's going to be the existing YouTube URL field. For the text, it's going to be the text box that we created, but we're going to do this on the dashboard. And for Instagram and TikTok, they're grayed out, so they're not going to work. And for LinkedIn, ideally, this is secondary, so we're not going to do this yet, but ideally I'd like to be able to paste in a LinkedIn URL. So let's discuss how we do that first before we do anything. Thank you. So I'm going to put it back in chat mode. I'll put it in chat mode, otherwise it will just implement it. It'll be like, yeah, I know how to do it, and it will go ahead and do it. Instead, this kind of gives us just a breather so we can read and make sure that it understood what I said, because I was babbling. And it will come up with ideas. You can also say, can you give me 3 different ways we can implement this? And then you can choose between them. And it will often say, this is the best mode. This is how we should do it. So phase 1, create multi-input selector. Yep. Dynamic input to rendering. So show appropriate input field type based on the fields based on the selected type. So this is an example of if I knew, if you know the language of what's being used in the background, then it's much easier to communicate with the AI. So instead of you having to describe, oh, I kind of want some buttons that when you click on them, then the text box appears. Instead, if I could say, okay, I want dynamic input rendering, so it shows the appropriate input field based on a selected type, that's a lot more clear, and the AI, Claude, is going to understand that a lot faster. So this again is a reason why kind of knowing the language is really valuable still, because you can be more precise. Ooh, I don't want to web scrape it. That seems non-ideal. Yeah, scraping's not ideal. Okay, but let's have a look. Update dashboard. So let's go ahead with that. Visual design. Well, why is visual design in phase 4? Because you're going to create it here. Create multi-input selector component. Update dashboard integration. Yes. I mean, it can't. These aren't phases. Okay, these are good. They're not really phases though, because visual design you're going to do at the same time when you are creating it, surely. So just go ahead and implement all of this. Thank you. Being a bit lazy. What I will do, because I was lazy, is bookmark here. Boop. So I can roll back easily. Tony, what's a lead magnet? Really good question. A lead magnet is a piece of value that we give away in exchange for an email address. So we use them under our content. So if we have a YouTube video that's doing really well, we will have in the description, hey, do you want a checklist? Or hey, do you want a PDF guide, which is related to this video? And to get that guide, people need to give us their email address. So it's a common digital marketing technique where we use it to go from the top of funnel content, so the wide content marketing that we do on YouTube, etc., to the middle of funnel, where we give something away to them, a PDF guide, a short course, a video, whatever it is, in exchange for their email address, so we can bring them into our marketing funnel. So they become middle of the funnel, and then we can progress them towards a sale. So a lead magnet is a mechanism for converting top of the funnel general audience into middle of the funnel engaged audience. Create a unified multi-content selector to replace the current generator. That's fine. This will probably be the last thing I can do. Oh no, I've got 10 minutes. Sometimes these sessions, nothing happens. I was talking to Marcin AI. You probably know. You probably recognize him. This is always this guy, Marcin. He spent, oh, he's done a video on it. Yeah, this one. Yesterday he spent 15 hours vibe coding. That is not the way. Sometimes there would be days where nothing's going right. And sometimes that's because the underlying model is having trouble, which is incredibly frustrating. After the release of GPT-5, Lovable actually switched over, or they gave you the ability to toggle on GPT-5, and lots of people used it, and it wasn't very good. so it can waste a lot of work. I noticed they have got rid of that toggle now, and it's back to Claude, which I agree is the right way to go. Okay, so that is chugging along in the background. Sorry for the people who keep asking to be co-hosts. I don't really do that. The reason is nothing to do with you personally. It's just too risky. I don't know who, like, I don't know the people who are asking, so it's too risky to bring you on live stream. It's not anything to do with you personally, it's just generally, if that makes sense. But if you do have a question, chuck it in the chat. There are some people in chat who are devs, proper devs. I'm not a proper dev, nor do I pretend to be, who actually, they'll have much better answers to your questions anyway than I do, which is great. Successfully implemented the multi-content selector. Let's have a look. I'm going to ignore that security error, which I'm going to fix. Yes, I know we have it. Passenger says, how many credits do you get with Lovable? It depends on the plan. I think the other big question is what do you get for each credit? So all of these tools, AI tools, including the one I'm building right now, they use credit systems to obfuscate the dollar amount. So you're not thinking like, oh, this generation is costing me $2. You're thinking, oh, it's 30 tokens. So psychologically, it's a step away from the monetary amount, which allows us to get away with more. So as you can see, I'm using the credit system too, for exactly the same reason. So you're not thinking, oh, every time I generate one of these, it's $1. Instead, you're thinking, it's 20 credits, which is abstract. So Lovable do the same. I'm doing it for that reason, very, very purposefully. So the question with Lovable is, like right now I'm starting to run out, 16 credits. So I'm going to have to pay more. But the question then is like, well, what does 16 credits get you? How long does that last? How many complex tasks can you do? And that's a really hard question to ask, because it kind of depends what you're building and how long it takes the AI to do that task. So I now have two. There we go. YouTube. So I can put in my YouTube generator here, text. This is what we've just created, and then a TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Let's do one quickly. So what's this? Is this me? Yeah, this is me. So I'm going to actually use this free generator, because I haven't managed to build this bit in yet. I'm going to use this both here and, is this a bad idea? No, it'll be fine. So I'm just going to do a quick check. So I'm going to sign back in. I haven't actually signed in today, so that's probably why. Go to the dashboard. This should work. Otherwise, so this is why I'm testing it to make sure it's still working. So this has also grabbed the text of my YouTube video, which I could have done myself using my own tool, but I'm doing this for speed. So that has created this. I need to fix these as well. Go ahead and generate a quiz project specification. And this is GPT-5 doing this work, by the way. So every time one of these things is generated, I pay ChatGPT, but I'm paying them using the API. So it's got nothing to do with a $20 a month budget. Instead, it's using something called the API. And you can see your usage. So today I've spent 1 cent so far on all of this testing that I've been doing. So it doesn't cost very much. For all of the testing, so far I've spent $1.27. Obviously, when you open up for customers, what's happening? When you open up to customers, there we go, that's generated that. That usage will increase. But what's happening is every time I generate a lead magnet, it's costing me personally maybe 1 cent, US cent, probably less. So that means I can have a huge margin if I'm charging $20, $30 a month to my customer, because, well, they're unlikely to be generating thousands of lead magnets, and I can also set limits. Well, I have set limits using credits, for example. So that has generated it. That has been created. That is working well. View lead magnet. Cool. That is in place. This one you shouldn't be able to generate a landing page. So that. Oh no. What did I make? I don't think I clicked on that. So that's a problem. I didn't click on checklist, and it's made a checklist. I wasn't paying attention, but I don't think I clicked on checklist, so I need to go back and check that. And in text, I can drop this in. This is 9,000 words. Kyle talks about something, probably lovable. Let's see if this works. I'm just checking that in this new dashboard interface, everything is still hooked up correctly. Looks like it is. Although I did find another problem. So let's try this one. Let's see if the PDF guide's working. Okay, all right. So we've got some other problems in generation. That is fine. We can deal with them. Oh, it did actually make it, but then it said no, it didn't make it. Okay, so we've got a couple of problems. We'll deal with them, but the interface itself, let's check this. Let's see if we can make a checklist. Checklist. Something just went wrong there. Text there. Oh no, it has to generate the lead magnets first. No, something. Test. Sorry, it did not go wrong. I got confused. It says analyzing your video. That's incorrect. So we need to change. Oh, why is it? No, that is something wrong. No, it's not. The process is correct, but that page is telling me it's looking at video. It is not looking at video, so that's fine. Okay, so that's made it. So let's see if the checklist works. See, you can't just turn your brain off when you are doing this stuff. You still need to be thinking about and looking at it and making sure that what you're expecting to work is working. I've just found a few little errors that we can deal with, no problem, but it requires noticing them first before we launch it, because if you launch and you have 100 customers, they're going to notice very, very quickly, so we need to catch those things first. And that's also why we go to beta testers first, so I'll give it away for free next week, and people can go and test it, play around with it, and they can give me feedback. Okay, so that worked. The test. Yeah, something's going. Oh no, there's the checklist. Yeah, something's gone wrong. So I have stuff to fix, but I have this basic interface in play. I'm okay with the interface. I just need to make sure that the functionality is okay, because it is making confused errors. I don't have time to do it on stream. What I'm going to do is relay the results of those tests back into Lovable and work out what the hell is going on, and then basically make sure everything's being routed in the right direction, because right now it is not. I'm also making a big mess here, but cool. Thank you. We have built a text version, so that's cool. The text version which works from here on the home page, but does not work on the dashboard, but that's fine. We're going to get there. So thank you again to Ed for that suggestion, because this makes it a lot more accessible, because you do not need to necessarily have a YouTube channel. So that's really cool. I will also change this around so that we can get any YouTube video. I think that's going to make this incredibly powerful, but that's a bigger task that I didn't want to do today. Awesome, and I will be back on Monday. Make sure you are subscribed to the newsletter. I'm going to be putting details of the hackathon in the newsletter. If you want to join, there's a €10,000 prize plus a free trip away somewhere. They don't really say where that is, but I assume somewhere in Europe. So if you can make it down to the hackathon at Google, do, that would be awesome. And I'll see you on October the 1st. And I'll also be back with this live stream. It'll be day 16 on Monday. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you for chat for helping with the technical details as well, and for helping each other as well. It's really helpful. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much.